Hey guys, I am doing this video because I want to tell you a little bit more about my ketamine experiences. I know that I posted a while ago that I was going to vlog the experiences, but they ended up being much more intense than I thought they were going to be and really dysregulated me for like a whole month, and I wasn't able to keep up on things the way I thought I was going to. So I'm about 2 weeks after the first chunk of experiences, and I just thought I'd run down what it felt like, what the actual physical experience was, and then I might do some later videos on like how it actually helped me mentally or therapy wise. So first, I just want to go over like the physical experience of getting to and during these appointments. So I was scheduled for 2 a week for 3 weeks, so that's 6 appointments altogether. We started with a very low dose, and then every appointment they upped me a little bit higher to like see where my line was. So you walk in. All the appointments were in an office building, which I found really strange and kind of unsettling at first. And then you walk into a room. There's nurse practitioners there. They are not mental health professionals. They're just nurse practitioners and sometimes even anesthesiologists, just people who are qualified to like give the injections and then physically take care of you while you're there. But no mental health professionals involved in the actual ketamine appointments. I had hour-long integration appointments with a therapist the day after, right? So my appointments were generally on Mondays and Thursdays, and then my integration appointments were on Tuesdays and Fridays. So I had to wait a full 24 hours before I could actually talk to somebody about what the experience was. So my first appointment, they gave me 60 milligrams, 2 injections, 30 in this arm. 15 minutes later, somebody came in and gave me another 30 in this arm. Not that big of a dose. Didn't really feel much. Oh, let me tell you about the room. So it's a dark room with a really cush leather recliner in it. So I could recline to be completely fully laying down. There's a TV in the room, but it only plays like naturescapes. So I had the Aurora Borealis playing for most of it. The lights were off, and they had one of those like trippy color lights where it like made waves on the ceiling, or there was like a moon up there, or those like green dots that like move around, which I really liked. I closed my eyes. I went completely internal. So during the experience, what the room looked like did not matter at all. But I have to say that coming out of the experience, it was pretty important. I really liked having just a chill space that was sort of psychedelic, comfortable for somebody on psychedelics, not just like bright fluorescent lights or anything. So that was really good. Anyway, small dose, 60, 30 in each arm. Didn't really do much, didn't see anything. Closed my eyes and just got these bodily sensations of moving very slowly through what I can only kind of describe as like a pitch black water slide, right? So, like, my essence, because I was no longer a person, I was just a soul or an essence or a being, like move, like really just like a water slide, like whoa, and like over here now and around this way. But it just like very sensational and not visual at all, but like slow, right? Like, oh, now we're going over here. Now we're going this way. Oh, we're upside down. Like, that's really, but like chill and slow and almost like molasses. So that really was it. Not much happened on the first appointment, just the pre appointment, just them trying to like base where I should be on these injections. So the second appointment, they gave me 90. I think it was 60 in one arm, 15 minutes later, 30 in this one. Same thing. No visual sense, no visuals. I know on other psychedelics like psilocybin, LSD, DMT, it's very visual heavy. I'm concentrating on the rainbows and the sparkles and the movement and the breathing and all the magical things that are happening in front of me. But I didn't get that at all on ketamine. Really just like the body feels. So then I ended up having integration appointments the very next day. So after the second dose, I had an integration appointment, and it wasn't until talking to the integration therapist that I really felt like I was getting anywhere. And that's kind of how I felt with all the ketamine appointments. The physical dosing of the ketamine didn't do much. It wasn't until afterwards, when I was picking it apart with a trained therapist, that I was really able to get to the bottom of anything. Third appointment was the next week. They gave me 120, so 60 in each arm. And this was the point where I could very much feel like I was in a different state. No longer a human. Still those same bodily sensations, though. And I kept describing this feeling of being pulled so I could go down a drain. But like, that's it, just this like wavy, slow, impossible, pitch black, watery movements, and then every once in a while, like, this down the drain feeling. Fourth appointment, they bumped me up to 160, and same thing, but much more intense now. And I remember telling the nurses, I was like, I feel like I'm stuck. I feel like there's something there. Oh, at this point, there was like this divine feminine energy with me, though completely formless. Like I said, I couldn't really see anything. Pitch blacks, maybe some light shifts to support these like sensational movements. But I felt like there was this feminine energy there that was like, come on, you're right there. Let's go. Let's do it. But I couldn't quite reach what was happening. I was also listening to a playlist, a ketamine specific playlist, to sort of guide me. So no words, no like, it's not like stuff you'd hear on the radio, very much like binaural beats, this like moving, soft, calm music. And I had an eye mask on, so I wasn't paying attention to anything in the room. I was very much just in my own experience. And that's really all that happened in the pre-doses. So those were my first 4. And then I had 2 last ones where they bumped me up to 200 milligrams. And that was because I kept saying I was stuck. And the nurses were like, all right, you're stuck, and we're trying to get you to break through to that other space. We want you to go to that other space. So we're going to up you to 200. And so those, again, no visuals. This was probably the most shocking part about ketamine to me, is I didn't see anything. Just pitch black, some light shifts, maybe some sparklies, but it all had to do with my body and these sensations that I was feeling in my body, and this movement and this water, almost womb-like, this very safe rebirthing process. It wasn't until the 200 milligrams that I realized that I wasn't going down a drain. Now it sort of felt more like going over a waterfall, right? That same free fall feeling, that same stretched out water feeling. But now, instead of feeling small and like I was trying to get into something, it more felt like a trust move of like, I have to go over this waterfall to get to the other side. But there was no have to. The ketamine took me there. There was no stopping it. I was just like, it's happening. Just like a water slide, right? You're like, woo! But there's no stopping it. But these are where I had my biggest breakthroughs. But again, not until I talked to the mental health therapist. Nothing was really happening to me during the actual like physical injections. Some of the after things that happened were during the larger injections. I got headaches. It was very dysregulating and very hard to continue with my day. They tell you, they're like, oh, it's 45 minutes, it's an hour. Definitely don't drive home. Have somebody else pick you up and drive you home, but like in a little bit you'll be fine. Some of the appointments that was true for me, some of the appointments it was not. The first 200 milligram injection, so my 5th injection altogether, at 200 milligrams, I got a horrible headache. I couldn't eat. And towards the end of the night, it got to the point where if I moved my head even like that much, I felt so nauseous, like I was gonna throw up. It made me really, really sick. So that's just something to be prepared for. But like I said, some of the other appointments, the 160, the 120, I was totally fine. You know, I was able to just kind of like, okay, if I eat something, if I go home and I eat something, that's the other thing. I found out that ketamine is a diuretic, so I did not drink any water prior to my appointments. My appointments were at 11 a.m., so that wasn't that big of a deal, but I also didn't eat, and that was my own personal preference, was to fast before the appointments to get the most out of the experience that I could. So those were me. I wasn't drinking water, I wasn't eating, so that could also be another reason for the dysregulation of like not feeling good when I got home. But okay, what I really want to talk about is the very last appointment. It was incredible, but it was only incredible because my integration therapist, who I was having the day after therapy appointments with, came into my room with me. So she was like, I am in the office, I'm below, I'll come up, I'll say hello. And I did the 200 milligrams, same thing, whoosh, 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 body sensations, pitch black, kind of some light shifts, that divine feminine energy of come on, come on, come on, you're doing it, you're right there, over the waterfall. Don't remember anything. Then I'm like, I know I'm coming back, the ketamine wears off, I kind of feel like I'm gently placed back into my body, back into the recliner, back into the office. And then all of a sudden I hear her voice in the room with me, and I immediately just washed over with calmness. And I was like, hey, she's here. And she actually worked with me to move the energy through my body. So she was able to ask me questions like, where are you feeling this right now? What is happening in your body? I had this intense electric sun ray feeling in my knees, which she told me to work through, and it ended up feeling like molasses dripping down my calves until my feet felt like solid cement. And then she was like, get up, stomp around, push that energy from your feet into the earth. And that it sounds so simple, but it was life-changing. It was such an interesting way to like move the energy that probably dysregulated me in the first 200 milligrams out of my body for the next 200 milligrams. And I went home that day and felt totally fine, like 100%. Like I didn't even get a ketamine injection that day. So I guess in the last couple of seconds that I have here on this video, I just want to say that I did not like getting ketamine treatments with nobody there that was a qualified mental health professional. It felt really dysregulating. You're going into an office building, you're taking psychedelics, and then they're just like, "Okay, thanks, bye." And that was really tough for me. I didn't like it, especially, the ride home, because I live in Colorado. So I'm going from this nice, dark, well-lit, trippy, cold space into full 96-degree Colorado sun into a car while my boyfriend drove me home. And that I did not like. I loved having a mental health professional there with me on site who knew what she was doing and had experience with psychedelic states to walk me through moving that energy around. So I guess my recommendations are, do not go get ketamine injections from an office that doesn't have mental health professionals there. I mean, or at least know that that's what you're getting into, because it is tough. I like my spaces. Obviously, I make tie-dyes and things, so I'm really curative of my spaces, and that was just a little tough. If you can find ketamine injections with mental health therapists on site, highly recommend. But yeah, that was just like the physical, like what the appointments were actually like, how they like upped my doses. The nurses there were great. Yeah, it's a diuretic. So like I said, I didn't drink water because I didn't want to have to use the bathroom like halfway through my appointment. And I highly recommend doing it with a mental health professional there. So that is going to be my first video. If you have any questions, post them below. I'll try to get to as many as I can. And I will post a couple more videos going more in depth about the actual therapy aspect of it and how it unlocked things in me and actually improved my life. Because I am going to say now, 2 weeks outside of the first chunk, I feel so much better. And I've had so many improvements in my life that I can honestly say were because of the ketamine. So again, ask me any questions below. I'll try to get to them, and then I'll have a couple more videos to come. Thanks.